One of the important lessons I learned early on in building my team is that finding great team players is incredibly important for the cohesiveness and ultimately the success of your team. So today, I'm going to give you 5 questions that I ask candidates when I interview people for my team. One of the things that's been funny to me in helping people hire and build teams is the amount of time spent on someone's background, their education, certifications, accomplishments, while then skimming over what kind of teammate they're going to be. It's so critically important to the cohesiveness and a success of a team that I think it's one of those things that you ultimately have to screen for. I recently read a survey by Gusto, and 37% of the employees surveyed said that the main reason they stay is because they were working with a great team. Beyond that, it only takes a simple Google search to see how much more effective and productive and profitable teams are when the team feel like they work well together, when they feel emotionally safe, all those kind of things that come down to environment and teaming. So today I'm going to give you 5 questions that I always ask. To me, finding great teammates is just as important as just about anything else we screen for in the interview process. So I'm going to give you 5 questions that you can ask the next time you are interviewing someone for your team. So the first one, I like to ask people, how important is teamwork to company success? And it's kind of one of those questions where, for the candidate, you're going to get their general idea of, how critical they think it is, right? They're going to be able to look at that and go, well, I think it's really important. Or you'll get someone who goes, I don't know. I guess it's somewhat important, but I think the money or the magic in that question is how they answer. Are they passionate about it? Do they go into detail? One of the things I like about this question is it's pretty vague. It's pretty open. They can kind of take it where they want. And that's going to tell you a lot about how important they are, and it's going to lay the foundation for understanding what kind of teammate they're going to be. The next question I want to do, so the next 2 are actually from the book, The Ideal Team Player. And The Ideal Team Player is a fantastic read if you're looking to build good teams. So I've read it and I use several of the questions, but the next 2 are from that question. So the first one, how do you handle giving and receiving apologies? There's a few things I like about this. One of the things I like about it is when a candidate gets this question, it might be the first time they have ever gotten that question. It's going to be unique to them. And they're gonna have to think about their answer and how they want to approach it. But what's interesting about this is it kind of tells you how they're going to be from an interpersonal standpoint. People who take a minute, think about it, and have really well-worded responses typically are really easy to work with. People who acknowledge how hard it is for somebody to give a mistake, and when they other than apologizing, they acknowledge their wrongdoing and they express that they want to communicate that and right the ship. That's a good sign. The next one, what type of people annoy you, and how do you handle dealing with them? This is interesting too, because you're asking this in a professional sense, and they're going to tell you about some of the things that irritate them. So one, you get a peek into what are the things that are going to drive this person crazy, and then you're also going to get a view into their conflict resolution skills. When they talk about, well, this is how I handle it, that's how they're going to deal with team problems right there. I mean, that answer, anytime they have a problem as part of your team, that's going to be the foundation for how they handle it and how they approach it. So it's really valuable to get a sneak peek of that ahead of time. All right, the next one. Tell me about a time, this is a behavioral interview question, so instead of just asking them to explain, you're asking them to pull from a previous time, which is really interesting because it gives you a little bit more depth into what they did in that role. So this one is, tell me about a time when you had to pull the weight of one of your teammates to ensure the success of a project. So that one's really interesting because that is a situation we can all relate to, and that's a situation that a person could find themselves in, and they're either going to respond to it positively or negatively. I like asking behavioral interview questions because typically people are pretty authentic here. They look at things that have actually happened and then they tell you about that. So this is going to give you, again, kind of a sneak peek into their conflict resolution, how they approach people who maybe aren't pulling their weight, and then what lengths they're willing to go to ensure the success of a project. So it's a great question to ask. And then the last one, what are some of the good attributes, of a good teammate, or what are the attributes of a good teammate? And this is a question that I like to ask, because what they're going to do is there's going to be an overlap. There's going to be things that make someone a good teammate, and then things that they do, and typically you're going to get the answers in that overlap. There are things that they consider a good teammate would be doing, and the things they do. So it's going to give you kind of a sneak peek into how they value it, how they approach it, the things they do, and what they think makes a good teammate, which is really important. As a hiring manager and someone building a team, you should have an idea of what makes someone a good teammate. I know I do. And so already having that in my mind and then hearing them talk through it, that allows me to see if they fit the mold of what I would consider to be a good teammate. So there you have it. Hopefully these help you in building your team. If you are seeing this on LinkedIn, please feel free to comment and like. If you have a question, I answer all questions. And if you're seeing this on YouTube, please subscribe. I drop about 3 or 4 of these videos every single week. Thank you for watching today, and happy hiring.